Thank you for listening to WBHM Digital Broadcasting out of Birmingham, Alabama. The opinions of hosts and guests do not necessarily reflect the opinion of this network.
You are listening to WBHM Digital Broadcasting, the best in paranormal talk only on Paranormal Experience Radio. Broadcasting live out of Birmingham, Alabama. This is Ghost Talk with 187 PI. Sit back and prepare yourselves for an adventure into the paranormal world with host Shelley Robertson and 187 PI research team. Ghost Talk is broadcasting live from Ohio's most haunted jail. Learn about their ongoing research at the jail and abroad, investigation techniques, and their personal encounters. Here is your host of Ghost Talk and 187 PI founder, Shelley Robertson.
Good evening, everyone. Welcome to Ghost Talk Radio with me as your host, Shelley Robertson. And tonight I have a special show planned for you. I have got Litteral Dorsey and Kat Hobson here with me tonight. And we are going to be talking about all things paranormal. It's just going to be a wild and out, right? Litteral Dorsey is a very experienced paranormal investigator. She's been doing this for years, been to lots and lots of places. And you know what? She's got her own, her own team, and she knows what she's talking about. And we got Kat Hobson, who is the host of Fate Magazine Radio and Paranormal Experience, and guess what? She's also the owner of this broadcasting network, and both of these ladies are very good friends of mine. So, everyone, welcome, Kat and Lori. Hi, ladies.
Hey there.
Hello.
How are you?
This is going to be a fun night.
This is going to be a fun night.
Tonight? Yes, it will. And I would like to start with Lori and ask you,
Okay.
I know we do investigations together now and again, but sometimes we don't get a lot of time to talk about the startings. What got you started in the paranormal?
I've been interested in paranormal since I was a child. My grandmother would tell me stories from the home place in Kentucky, and she had saw apparitions in the kitchen, and the spinning wheel upstairs in the old place would spin without anybody there.
Oh, wow.
So, yeah, and you could hear screams upstairs, that type of thing. And that, back in my day, that was taboo.
Wow.
You didn't talk about it. So,
Right.
So I was always interested in it, but I could never discuss it because it was, big no-no.
Taboo.
So,
Absolutely.
yeah, taboo. Oh, yeah. And I finally got to go back to that place, and it is haunted. The old home place that my grandmother, I finally got to take my equipment back there, and I got a disembodied voice, and I got my grandmother came through, my dad's mom. I heard her voice come across. It was amazing.
Wow.
It was something. Yeah. My dad was just blown away. He couldn't believe it. So, yeah, that's how I got started with it. I've always been interested in it, but, we just recently, we
Yeah.
could talk
Yeah.
about it.
Right. I have a
Sure.
question.
Without people thinking you were crazy too.
Yeah. Oh, yeah. People back in the day, it's like, what is wrong with you?
That's when you got to experience Waverly in real life, in real time.
Yeah.
Yes. Yes.
But I have a question.
But no, my first. Oh, yeah.
What was your EVP, your disembodied voice? What did they say?
It was asking me, who are you?
Really?
It was a disembodied voice, yeah. It was between my daughter and I in the front living room. And that's the first time I'd ever caught a disembodied voice on my recorder. Christy looked at me, and I looked at her, and she said, "Did you hear that?" Because you could hear the whisper. And I couldn't make it out until I played it back. And I finally figured it out. It says, "Who are you?" And right after that, I explained who I was. And then I explained who Christy was,
Right.
and how we were related into the family and why we were there in the house and, who I was and who I was related to, who my grandparents were. And then, it just, they lit things up as I asked them. The doll, I had that Raggedy Ann doll.
Right.
Yeah.
And I asked if anybody was there, would they please just take the doll's hand, and the doll lit up, So I knew somebody that after I explained who I was, explained to them, how I was related, that they interacted with me.
Now, do you think that was the same entity from when your grandmother told you the things as a child? Do you think it was the same one?
I think it was family. I don't think it was the entity that she talked about. That there was supposedly, which I have never been able to verify, a murder. A Union soldier came home from the war and caught his wife upstairs, and he drew his side saber and cut her head off.
Oh.
And my grandmother swore that she could hear the scream and could see a headless body walking down the steps. I've never seen it.
That's intense.
But I've heard, I've heard screams. There's been screams around the property before. We used to camp there when we were kids. And there were lots of screams, And you both know Garrett.
Yes.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah. He was telling me what was going on. He could see it. He said there was a death on the property. He could see the death on the
screams,
property.
Huh?
And he said that. He said, did you hear a lot of screams on that property? And that's before I told him. I said, well, yeah. Yeah. He said, there's been several deaths on that property. And I did find out that there was a handyman overturned a tractor and was crushed on the property. And I don't know, I can't remember. There's some other things. It was just really interesting, from being a little kid, hearing these stories and then going back as an adult and investigating the place.
And getting the proof of the stories then, yes.
Yeah.
So is that what really solidified you to jump right in and...
No.
No?
Mine was that interaction at the family property happened in 2014, but I went on my first actual ghost hunt, quote unquote, in January of 2012 at Rhodes Hall.
Okay.
In Atlanta. And that's where I met Chip Coffey and all those guys, And that was my first toe dip into investigating. I had no idea what I was doing. I bought a K2 meter just to see if I could get any interaction, And I did. I mean, I saw shadow legs walk past the door, I had my K2 going off as like it came into the door,
Yeah.
Everybody had their equipment in the center.
Were you at Rhodes Hall?
Yeah. Mm-hmm.
And you got that evidence?
Yeah, that was down. Yeah, down in the basement. Mm-hmm.
Yeah, the basement was pretty
active.
active.
I didn't. Yeah, down in one apartment area downstairs.
Yeah.
We were all sitting down there, and I looked out. Everybody was looking at the equipment. I looked outside the door, and I saw shadow legs walk in. And everybody's equipment started going off, and I said, oh, by the way, something just walked in here. I just saw shadow legs walk in. I didn't see a body. I just saw, like, legs, feet and legs walk in. So that was
just
the
the legs.
Yeah, that was weird. That was just shadow legs walking in. And then
other people see legs at different places, too. I know someone who saw them and actually got them on video at Old South Pittsburgh. And I have never seen I've never seen that.
Legs. It was
I've
weird.
never
It
seen
was just so
just
weird.
the legs, but I've seen an arm and a hand. I've seen an arm and a hand at the jail. Craziest thing I ever saw. Yeah, just an arm and a hand in that first floor cell block.
Mm-hmm. Oh, I believe that.
Mm-hmm. It was reaching out, too, wasn't it, Shelley? Was it? Reaching out of its cell?
Yes, it was. Yes.
I think that's freaky.
Other people had told me about that, and I was like, I wasn't putting too much into it until I saw it. I'm like,
and that's what we do.
And a hand, really? That's what I'm thinking. Really?
Well,
just
that one the SLS camera of the figure standing over top of Cat. And
that was freaky.
She reached up and it reached down. That was weird.
Yeah.
It was like standing over top of her, and she was sitting on the floor. I think it was on the second floor cell block.
I think it was too. And I don't get much up there, and you did of it interacting with me. That was amazing.
That was crazy.
Yes, it was.
The minute you reached up, it reached down. It was like it was reaching down toward where you were at.
Yeah.
I was filming it, and I thought, what is going on?
Well, they don't want to run me out anymore, so they were just saying, hey, glad you're here, Kat.
Giving you a high five or something. I don't know.
Question for the two of you.
What's
and we'll go with you first, Kat. Where have you had your most crazy experience, and what was it?
You know the answer to that. The world knows the answer to that.
But it could have been. But I'm not positive about that. I mean, you've been to a lot of places where I haven't been with you.
That's true. I think that it would have to be the jail. As I said, when Portals to Hell came and filmed their season 2 premiere, it's your jail.
Right.
But that was just the most bizarre thing ever. I was trying to do a show, and, it's like I told them, every spirit in that structure was mad at me. Not anybody else.
Right.
I had ticked off everybody. But,
and you really had to be there to know what we're talking about. It was, everything was banging in there.
It wasn't moving, though. But they weren't moving,
right.
But they were banging. If you've ever stood there and looked at an iron door that is being slammed with all the force that a grown man could put into it, making that noise, and it's just sitting there being still.
Yeah.
The fire doors on each floor were being banged on. They were stomping around. The guy who ditched us, the producer that ditched us, was online with me, and my computer was showing I didn't have any service, but I was hardwired, so I didn't know how that was possible. And he messaged me and said, I hear you. You are getting out, so I'm recording this. And basically, I'll let you know when it's time to go. And so he is an EVP guy. He just wanted the evidence. It didn't matter what happened to me.
Yeah.
Right.
But in all honesty, I got mad thank goodness, because if I had stopped and thought about it, I would have been terrified. I really would have, simply because of the volume of activity that was happening, responding to me being in the area that I was. I was where Gary was found hung. And that, to them, that's hallowed ground, apparently. Who knew? But, you know, I guess I didn't anticipate that kind of dedication to each other or whatever it was from dead criminals, because that the first floor were the bad guys, right?
Right.
And so, you know, I didn't really anticipate that I would get that response. It flipped me out a little bit, but
they still don't like
you. Lori, well, the sheriff likes you, so I mean, it's all good.
Well,
I think that's the balance. I think that's the balance because he's the alpha in the building. So if you're good with him,
yes.
I mean, we had a fella in there one night, and the sheriff was not good with him. He was very vocal, talking out loud, wanted that guy to leave. He was supposed to spend the night. He didn't end up spending the night.
Right.
He was spooked by it.
Well, he didn't like the vibe, yeah.
Well, I wasn't scared enough to leave. I mean, I wasn't scared.
Right.
I was just like, I've never had that happen to anything like that happen to me. And I've been in some freaking haunted places, right, with very belligerent spirits. And I have never, you know, I'm sweet, I'm Southern, I sound like, you know, Miss Kitty or something. And so, you know,
they didn't care about that.
They were just angry because I had disrespected what they considered to be hallowed ground. And, you know, and then when I left the next morning, because I spent the night in the jail that night, when I left the next morning, the song that they were playing, and they did play this because I was listening to No She's radio. My radio skipped. Sirius, you know, that's digital, that doesn't skip. And the song by Alison Krauss, Ghost in This House, started playing. And I was like, smart
She took
Alex.
a picture of that.
I did.
And sent it right to me as she was pulling out.
I pulled out first.
I'm like, wow.
That's crazy.
But I did. I took a picture of it because it was just astounding to me that they could do that. I mean, I'm going to tell you, spirits can manipulate anything they want to.
I think that's true. I think that's true.
Yeah, I firmly believe it.
Oh, yeah.
And
I wholeheartedly agree.
And folks, we need to take this short break. You are listening to Ghost Talk Radio on WBHM-DB. And after the break, we'll find out where Lori's most compelling location was she investigated. We'll be right back after this short break.
You are listening to WBHM Digital Broadcasting. The best in paranormal talk radio.
Oh, come on. I'm Southern, but... nope. That'll do. Hello. I am Kat Hobson, host of Paranormal Experience here on WBHM Digital Broadcasting out of Birmingham, Alabama. I enjoy having guests from all areas of the paranormal, from ghosts to ufology to cryptids and beyond. You'll find some of the best researchers in their fields bringing you some great information. Join me on Wednesday nights from 8 to 10 p. Eastern here on WBHM Digital Broadcasting.
Son of a...
Hey, son.
Mother...
Son, what are you doing?
Hey, Mom. I'm getting ready to listen to Periscope Uncensored.
By expanding your vocabulary.
Well, it is uncensored.
Son, the uncensored part of Periscope Uncensored is Jax and I getting down to brass tacks with all aspects of the paranormal. There's no fluff on our show.
So, no off-color commentary?
I didn't say that.
Awesome!
Son?
I just hit my head.
Oh boy. I'll go get you an ice pack. Catch Periscope Uncensored Thursday nights at 9 p.m. Eastern, only on WBHM Digital Broadcasting.
Since 1948, Fate Magazine has brought you reports of the strange and unknown, all of them true. Fate Radio is carrying on that tradition, bringing you the unusual, macabre, strange, and bizarre. Join host Kat Hobson Sunday nights from 8 to 10 p.m. Eastern on WBHM Digital Broadcasting.
You are listening to WBHM Digital Broadcasting, Birmingham, Alabama.
Thank you for listening to WBHM Digital Broadcasting out of Birmingham, Alabama. The time is 23 minutes after the hour.
Welcome back to Ghost Talk Radio. With me is your host, Shelley Robertson. And tonight I'm here with Lori Dorsey and Kat Hobson, and we are just talking about all things paranormal. If you missed the first part of the show, no worries, folks. You can catch the full show archive on Spreaker, iHeart, iTunes, and Google Play at your leisure. We're also on many other platforms. Probably wherever you're at, we're there. Before the break, we heard from Kat, who told about her most compelling paranormal experience at a location. Now, for you, Lori, let's hear about what yours was.
Well, I'd say probably both of them occurred at the High State Reformatory in Mansfield. My gosh, I've had three just absolutely bizarre things happen there. I guess the one that startled me, there was one that was just really cool. There was one that was just I captured on the SLS camera. And the third one was when I took the rest of the ghost hunting grannies. We were down in the basement, down in the hole. We went down there, and it was, I can't remember, had a guide with us, and she had one of those trigger objects. It was a dog that if you touch it, it would light. And my SLS, the battery drained almost instantly once we got downstairs in that whole area. So I had a REM pod. I sat in the corner. There were several people that they asked to volunteer to go way back in the back, which I said, no, I'm not going back there. And because, I mean, it was darker than dark back there because there's no light coming through. So there was myself and Vicky and Johnny and Kim, and we were all kind of lined up there. And in front of us were like those huge pipes, you know, for heating and cooling. Those, I don't know, they're just the system. They were old pipes, and the cement coming down through the cement floor, which was like 15 feet thick. And the lady had her walkie-talkie, and she was talking upstairs and telling, you know, that we were down in the hole. Everybody get into your position, you know, and everybody get quiet. So we did. Everybody sat down. Everybody got quiet. We turned off all the lights, everything. And Kim, who was standing next to me, was hitting me in the arm really hard. I couldn't see her because it was so dark. And she said to me, something just whispered in my ear. And then everything, my REM pod went off, the dog went off. And in front of us, where the pipes were, something was banging the crap out of it. I mean, it sounded like somebody was taking their fist and just banging the crap out of it. And our, I guess, tour guide was starting to freak out. She was just losing it. So I said, hang on, just calm down. Take a breath, sweetie. I said, you've got the walkie-talkie. Call upstairs and make sure nobody's messing around up there, on the pipes. But, think about it. That thick of cement, and those pipes are as thick as they are. There's no way anybody could stand up above us and either hit, stomp on the floor or hit the pipes and make that loud of a noise, because it was right in front of us. So She radios up, radios back down. She says, no, nobody's in front of us. And she goes, what are we going to do? I said, just hang on. So I call out. I said, okay, if this is a spirit that's trying to get our attention, do hit that pipe again, and, like you did before, do it like 4 times and hit it. Instantly, bang, 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 bang. And I went, well,
there you are.
You. That was interesting.
Nice to meet
there
you.
There you go.
Yeah. And finally, Kim came over to me. She goes, it whispered in my ear, watch this. And that's when everything went crazy. The REM pod went off by the doorway. The dog went off. And then the banging of the pipes. And it was insane. It was absolutely insane. That was the freak moment. The other cool moment was when I was up in the the chapel. Kat was there that weekend, and we were up in the chapel and we were talking, and I was sitting in the front pew, I think, and we were getting some flashlight play upstairs up there. And so I put a flashlight where the altar was, and then I put a REM pod on the pew behind the altar. And I wanted to see if it would light up the light and light up the REM pod. And pretty much on command, when I would ask, would you please light up the light would come on. And then I said, could you please turn it off? And they would turn it off. I said, well, then can you walk over to that pew in that corner and touch that round thing, which is the REM pod? And it was pretty much immediately. It did it. And I was like in shock. And I said, okay, let's do a trick. I said, turn on that light and light that REM pod up all at the same time.
Yep.
And it did it.
It did it. I've got
I couldn't
it on
believe
video.
it.
I was filming
in
that.
shock.
What's really exciting about this story that you're telling about Mansfield is we're going there Monday.
Yes, we are.
Except for poor me, who will be thrown into the quarantine system, not of my choosing, in either Kentucky or Ohio.
That's too bad.
Yeah.
We're going to be missing you. I wish you was going to be able to be there.
Yes.
Me too.
What's exciting for me about this is I've been to the reformatory, but I've never investigated it yet. So this is going to be pretty awesome for me.
Yes, it is.
So I'm going to bring the Defender and the portal box and all the things.
The portal's going to be awesome there.
I'm going to see just what I can get, I would say for me, I've had a few aha moments. I was at a ghost town once out in Nebraska. And yes, I'm telling you, there's some really off the wall, out of the way places. And sometimes Vincent, my husband, he gets sent different places. He builds cell towers. And when that happens, sometimes I go then I get my hotel for free, and I check out what's in the air. Check out what's in the area. So I went to this ghost town, and visited the town hall and one of the churches, and then there was this cemetery, and I don't know, I was just getting a vibe there, so I set my Defender camera up there, and I'm watching, and we had Vincent and one of his work friends with us. Well, he went to do EVP session at one of the children's tombstones, right? So he's there in one area of the graveyard, and we're checking out another area of the graveyard. And don't you know, it looked like, this was the most bizarre thing that I had ever seen in my life. It looked like his work friend, got up and started walking across the graveyard. No, it wasn't him, though.
Wow.
No, wow.
He was still
so cool.
sitting there. And I had that on film also, because I was filming the graveyard with one of the Defenders. Mm-hmm. And I'm like, that is one of the craziest things. I mean, it looked just like him, you know? I'm like, I said, were you having an out-of-body experience or anything right just now? Because that's so bizarre. I mean,
he went astral on you.
Yes, and just started walking across the graveyard.
I would have been so surprised.
Like, it looked, I'm telling you, it looked solid. Like, it looked like him. And I was, that,
doppelganger.
Yeah.
Yes,
was the clothing
exactly.
the same? I mean, like the way the clothes hung on him the same?
It was. I thought it was him. The only thing was, he didn't turn his head and look at us or nothing. He was just looking straight ahead, going straight across. And then I just thought it was him. So I'm looking away doing something else. When I look back, he's sitting there. And I told Vincent, I said, he never moved. So we walked over to him. And he's like, I've been sitting here the whole time. I think I might have got some EVPs from somebody over here. And I was like, oh, my God.
Oh, my God.
Oh, wow.
That's crazy.
That is wicked.
It is crazy. And that was probably one of the craziest things that ever happened. Now, I call them, like, for instance, this last birthday party we put on, some things happened during that I had never seen happen before.
Right.
And
I was there. Mm-hmm.
I wasn't
you was
there. What happened that you had never seen before?
Well, okay, so we do these birthday parties, and we get some great evidence from them, don't we, Lori? You've been to several.
Yes. Oh, yeah.
And we don't concentrate on, at the birthday party, we just concentrate mostly on the life of the person and
what they would have enjoyed.
Yes, give them a break from their death being all that's talked about.
Yes, and without the demands to say this or that or whatever. It's like you would behave at a party for them.
Right.
So
yes,
I found out from his daughter what kind of music he liked when he was living. So Lori did a playlist. And when she started playing, wasn't it the Kenny Rogers song that he was singing to? Yeah.
Yes. Mm-hmm.
That he was singing to. I mean, full on sentences. And we looked at each other. We just started laughing. We're coming across the portal. The full choruses.
They were singing along with it. I mean, it was crazy.
That is bizarre.
They did that on several songs. Oh, it was crazy.
Yes.
Shelley and I looked at each other, and I said, did you just hear that?
Like, and we just look at each other and start laughing because, oh, my God, I don't believe this, right? So the other crazy thing was the REM pods started going off to the beats of the songs.
Yeah.
No
and
way.
I was
like they were tapping their finger. Mm-hmm. Like they were tapping their finger on the REM pod.
I thought, oh my God. I said, is something setting that off? When it first started doing it, and I'm like, we started paying attention, and it was like going to the beats of the songs. I'm like, it's beating songs.
It was so bizarre.
That
because
is
we
bizarre.
were sitting there and we just realized it. Yeah, we just realized it's going. It's like
and
somebody
we're like
tapping their toe or tapping their finger on it because because the REM pod you had to break the field, and it was going to the time of the music, like something was sitting there. Because I had a wireless speaker so we could turn it up, and it was tapping to it. And then the other bizarre thing we got was when we were playing the music, we had Elvis and, who else was it? Elvis and Johnny Cash and
Kenny Rogers.
And they didn't like Glenn Campbell, so I had to turn that one off because he wanted country music, so I could, But there was white streaks. It was like energy going across my SLS camera. There wasn't like a stick figure.
I was getting that too.
The pulses. Yeah.
Was it like rods?
Pulsing energy.
Like what we've seen of rods in places?
It was like a conglomeration of dots and staticky stuff, wouldn't you say, Lori?
Yeah. It was, and the only time it really, you could see it pulsing is when we were jamming to the music. It was amazing.
Yes.
Okay.
Or maybe like the air might have been, I don't know, maybe electrified or something in that area because, I'll tell you, I had sat at that picnic table the very first time when I realized when his death time was. I was sitting there and that little area in that picnic table place there, it got so filled with static electricity and like everything was standing up. You could just, you could literally feel the vibrations of the static. You could. And I'm like.
And it showed up on the SLS.
Yes,
that was
I
the
think.
weird part.
That is so
But
weird.
I also think.
I think that's
he
what it
showed
was.
up. I think Gary showed up because I got a.
Well, he said hello,
son,
when I introduced his son. Yeah.
Yes.
He did not, did he?
But
yes.
Wow.
Because his son
I can't
was
believe
sitting
I wasn't there.
Oh, it was crazy. And there was no doubt that kid was his child.
Yeah.
He might have doubted that was his child, but there's no doubt that boy was his.
He looked too much like him and the sister to not be.
Oh yeah.
And the crazy thing of it was the time before when we had the party. Near the end, I do ask him a couple of questions to end the night because he only gives us like an hour of really strong time, right?
Yeah.
From 3 to 4. Right. From 3 to 4. At 4 o'clock, you just actually a couple of minutes till you just start feeling it draining out. And I asked him last party time. I said, I will still try to find your kids and blah, blah, blah. I said, is there anybody else? Is there a wife or anyone else you want me to try to bring here? And we got the name Linda. And then when the kids found me because of the Portals show, I asked the boy, Devin, I said, Devin, does the name Linda mean anything to you? And he's like, oh my gosh, that's my mom. I said, well, okay, well, she needs to come then because that's somebody he requested to be there. But what Vicky got that night, because, see, Gary was in jail over a child support case. So I'm just going to brief everybody really, really fast. And Gary had never met his son. Circumstances that played a part, and him and Linda splitting up while she was pregnant. He'd never met the son. So this night at the investigation, this past July, was the first time he met his son. Okay.
Yes.
And Linda was the gal that, why he was in jail. All right. Over the child support case. So Vicky got when I started talking, and I said, Linda's here. You requested to see her. And he said, X and warrant.
Yes, X and warrant.
So I think he was confronting her about that, you know?
Sounds like it, doesn't it?
Mm-hmm.
But I was...
And she apologized. She said she was sorry. But
and
it wasn't
I think
her
he accepted
doing.
it. No,
Yeah.
it wasn't her doing. But I think he accepted that, though. It felt...
Yeah.
It didn't feel heavy. It felt like... Right. Yeah. It felt like all of that needed to happen, you know? Yeah. Yes, exactly.
The forgiveness was there.
Yes, on everybody's part.
Yeah. Because she held out her hand, because I caught on my SLS something standing next to her, and she said her hand, she reached up, and she said she felt static. She could feel static, and it got really, really cold. I said, well, someone's standing there beside you. She was sitting in the chair by the door. And I said, something's reaching out for you. And she said, but she felt like her hand, the palm of her hand, something had touched it. So I said, well, evidently Gary was just letting you know he was there. But the one part that I got a big chuckle out of, everything was fine. And then we were starting to play the music, and I got a stick figure standing, dancing on the table next to the shot of whiskey, and it looks like, this is just my speculation after watching it, it looked like it fell off the table and sat down on the floor. And then, I don't know.
The whiskey fumes got to him.
Climbed back up on the, I don't know. It climbed back up on the table.
They tasted the whiskey.
No problem. I get drunk, I fall down. No problem.
Okay, folks, we got to take this short break, and we'll be back after this brief message. You are listening to Ghost Talk.
You are listening to WBHM Digital Broadcasting, the best in paranormal talk, only on Paranormal Experience Radio, broadcasting live out of Birmingham, Alabama.
Oh, come on. I'm Southern, but... Nope. That'll do. Hello. I am Kat Hobson, host of Paranormal Experience here on WBHM Digital Broadcasting out of Birmingham, Alabama. I enjoy having guests from all areas of the paranormal, from ghosts to ufology to cryptids and beyond. You'll find some of the best researchers in their fields bringing you some great information. Join me on Wednesday nights from 8 to 10 p. Eastern here on WBHM Digital Broadcasting.
Since 1948, Fate Magazine has brought you reports of the strange and unknown, all of them true. Fate Radio is carrying on that tradition, bringing you the unusual, macabre, strange, and bizarre. Join host Kat Hobson Sunday nights from 8 to 10 p.m. Eastern on WBHM Digital Broadcasting.
Listening to WBHM Digital Broadcasting, the best in paranormal talk, only on Paranormal Experienced Radio, broadcasting live out of Birmingham, Alabama.
Welcome back to Ghost Talk Radio with me as your host, Shelley Robertson. And tonight I have Lori Dorsey and Kat Hobson with me, and we have been talking about some crazy experiences and all things paranormal. And if you missed the first part of the show, You can catch the full show archives on Spreaker, iHeart, Google Play, iTunes, anywhere you're subscribed to. I'm sure we're probably there. Even all you DJ Spin Masters, we're on Deezer too.
There you go. Everywhere you want to be.
Yeah, that's right. That's right. We are there. And so, it makes me think about a lot of different things. And I'm coming to find that some of these people, these spirits are, I've been saying this and I truly believe it, especially after the parties, after, how they behave at the parties and the types of evidence we get. And I know maybe your mainstream people think it's crazy to throw birthday parties for dead people, but I think they really enjoy it.
They do. Especially because in this particular instance, he died there. And all everybody talks about is, Gary the dead guy.
The gloom and doom of it.
Yeah.
Yes.
And celebrating, having a celebration of life thing is so much more fun. And if I were a spirit, I would feel better because
we have a dinner, we put the decorations up and get them a cake and
and get
thumbprints
on the
cake.
Celebrate their lives.
That's right. That's right. And I do ask a couple of the hard questions near the very end to see if there's anything they're wanting or anything they'd like to tell us. But it's just the last minute or two, of their time.
We don't dwell on that.
Yeah, and he fades out then anyway. He's already pulling away by the time we get to the end.
And we were lucky enough the last time that we got the name of Linda, and so I'm really happy that we do the birthday parties.
Peace.
Yeah.
I think we brought in some peace.
I think they're really good.
Meet his son. Yeah, you got to meet his son, and he got Linda apologized.
Yes, I think that was the whole thing. Yes.
Yeah. And I think that brought him some, I don't know, full
some
circle
peace maybe.
Around.
Yeah.
But I had told the kids, and I talked with the kids and Linda, and I said, well, I don't know if this is going to be like a closure for him now or not, but if he lets me know he's still here, we'll do another party. We'll do another party next year. And the kids, I told them, you're invited. I think they were. Up. Yeah, I think they were just
shocked.
Well, they were shocked. I think.
Yeah.
His eldest child, or the daughter,
a little bit too. I think.
Really. She was a little emotional. She went up there, and we let her have her time up there. So I know she was, I don't know, she was just really sad and, just, I don't know if it brought any closure to her. She was kind of close with her. Well, she was kind of close with her dad, and she never got to say goodbye, and the one night they talked to him, the next time they hear he's dead, and the next thing she knows, they're handing over his ashes,
Yeah.
And I think that was a little bit of a healing.
Yeah.
No explanation whatsoever. Yeah.
Right.
So I think it was a little bit healing process,
Mm-hmm. Yeah, I think so.
I think
for
she
her.
needed that. And
mm-hmm.
it was a great night. I've had...
Yeah, it really was.
I've had
the
activity,
the rest of the activity through the jail wasn't as great as it was when we were. It was pretty, I don't know, calm or toned down when we
It was.
we went down in, the basement. There wasn't hardly any activity.
Yeah.
There wasn't hardly any activity on the second floor. It was really, everything was concentrated down there. Even in the kitchen, I didn't get anything,
And I think they were all because I was a little apprehensive at what was going to happen.
Yeah.
And I think because we had no idea once I found out who Linda was and all of that, and I'm like, oof, okay, this could go any way. You know what I mean?
Yeah, this could go sideways. We don't know.
That's right. And
I
think
it lashed out at her. Yeah.
Oh,
because
yeah.
She had to be nervous.
She was. she was
the
a little
rest
apprehensive.
of the spirits were, yeah. And I think the rest of the spirits were too. And I think that's why that night it was kind of calm.
Quiet.
And I'm like, what's going to happen? And I'm like, I don't know what's going to happen.
Yeah.
But
we all picked up on that vibe.
Yeah. But it turned out really, really well.
Oh, yeah. Mm-hmm.
I'll tell you something that's happened at the jail recently, which has got me kind of bewildered. The fella named Rob that was at Gary's event with his wife, Melody?
Yeah.
Oh,
okay.
I was thinking last year about the other Rob, but I'm sorry. I intruded.
Okay, so I'm going to tell, I don't know if I told you about this or not, Kat. I may have. But they had a private in the building, the Monday after the Gary event, right?
Oh, yeah. I heard her talk about that. Yeah.
And they brought a fella with him that has been in law enforcement for the last 17 years. Really nice guy. And he's a skeptic. But, he wants to believe, he's on the fence, but he's also a skeptic. So he was wanting to come to the jail just simply, all out to begin with, to see it, to see what the history's like, because it's so old. And he just couldn't believe how the cells were set up and all of the things. He's like, I said, I bet you never worked in no place like this. He's like, I have not.
I have.
Right. So here's what happens. They're going about their night. They're getting evidence on the third floor. They actually got a woman's name, which I've been trying to get for 5 years.
Wow.
And I know.
That is
I was
cool.
like, oh my gosh, really? You finally got a name for Miss Lady or one of the ladies up there? Really? And she got the name Ruby. So I'm like, well, I got some homework. I got some homework to do now. So,
yeah.
But they had all kinds of things happening and evidence. But, they get to the basement. They're having a lot of activity in the basement. And Jeff decided to do the police officer decided to do the sensory deprivation, right?
Oh
yeah.
And what happened was when they were nearing the end of their night, and Rob comes and knocks on the office door. He says, hey, you got a couple of minutes that we can chat? And I'm like, sure, what's going on? He says, I don't know. This has kind of got us a little disturbed. I'm like, what happened? Well, I guess they let me hear the playback of it and stuff. Something overtook the police officer in the basement and was talking through him.
Get out.
And nope.
Get out of town.
Nope, asking him, and it freaked him out. I mean, his hands and stuff was literally shaking, playing me back all of this. And I know they saged themselves out in the parking lot and everything. I mean, I'm like, are you serious? And I started listening to it, and I'm like, oh my gosh, that's not even his voice. It was like a deep, gruff, voice saying, you don't have permission to be here. Why are you here? You need to leave, and stuff like that. And it took
Holy mackerel.
Yes, and it
Was
took
he the
Melody.
subject? And was he the one being
Yeah.
sensory deprived?
Yes. And
Holy
it
snap.
took Melody. It took Melody a little bit to get him to come to, so she could get him out of there. And she was about to radio up to Rob, and he's like, I don't even know. I've never had anything like that ever happen, he said.
Wow.
And I'm like, I have never had anything like that happen here. Yeah,
You know, that's a great experiment, but it's
You gotta
just
be
like
careful.
because you're opening yourself up. The team
Yeah.
team I used to
think,
investigate with did those on subjects from the crowd of the events that we held, and
oh my.
and I had never done it, right? So I had a case that I went on with Frank, and he wanted to do that, and I said, well, that's fine, but it is so intense of an experience. I mean, there were no waivers signed. There was nothing. And that, what Frank and I did is called the Gansfield experiment. Other people call this something else. And I'm sitting there just like, and I have experience at this. I'm psychic. I have all kinds of intuition,
Right.
and nothing negative happened to me, not like this guy, but it was just,
Wow.
it's too intense. And I want to say, people listening to this show, do not do this experiment if you don't know, what you're opening yourself up to. You don't go to a place that has possible negative energy and turn yourself over to something.
I would go a bit
You
further
don't open
and
yourself
suggest,
up.
Yeah, I would suggest don't do it alone either.
Ever.
If you're gonna do it, make sure that there's somebody there with you, because
Was he by himself?
I don't know.
Has she left him? Was he alone?
She went when that started happening. She went to the back through through one of the catwalk areas, and that started happening. And she started hearing him talk like that. And she comes around, and it just, I guess, was a really freaky experience that, they, here's how I look at that. I have never done it. And I never let the spirits, even, I'm so friendly with the ones at the jail, but I never let them use my energy.
Nope.
Now, my brother will do it, but I'm saying to him, you're gonna wish you didn't one time, I don't.
Yeah. Yes.
I don't let him do that, and I would be almost. I don't think I could do sensory deprivation. Number one, I would feel too vulnerable, and I am a control freak, so
no doubt.
Mm-hmm.
I don't think I could. And I got to thinking about it, and let's look at the personalities. Like Rhonda on my team says she thinks she would do it, and my brother says, oh, I think I would do it. And I'm like, okay, you guys got kind of passive personalities where I'm more of an aggressive personality, I guess, and that's even more dangerous because the passive personalities can easily be taken over.
Oh, yeah. Oh, yeah.
And
I don't let
and
anything get that close to me.
No.
Oh, no. I'm like, there's enough energy in this building. You don't need to drink off of me.
No.
Absolutely
and
not.
It's just like when people when I've been around people that provoke.
Oh,
and
I walk away.
You're asking for trouble there too, because that's right. Yeah. Because I'll tell you,
I've seen people pushed. I've seen people pushed down the stairs, and they turn around, and I said, I told you, shut the hell up.
No doubt.
Well, and only
they just look
that,
at me.
if you hear bangs, if you know that stuff has been moved and everything, now they have the energy to hurt you if they want.
Yeah.
Absolutely. You'll never convince me again that they can't.
Yeah.
I fully believe that they can.
Yeah, because I've actually gotten to the point I just tell them to either be quiet or go elsewhere because I can't handle that. I can't.
No.
I can't handle that.
And I'm going to say right here that I'm the guest. I'm also the producer, and we are at the top of the hour. So would you like me to run a news break or?
Yeah, I think we will, and because I want to talk about maybe a couple of more items, the stuff going on at the station, at the jail, and yeah. Okay, let's go to a short break. We're going to run over time. We'll be back in a brief moment. You're listening to Ghost Talk Radio on WBHM-DB.
We'll actually be back in 5 minutes, but nobody cares. We'll see you on the flip side.
Live from NPR News, I'm Janine Herbst. Immigrant rights advocates are challenging a new Department of Homeland Security rule that would make it harder for asylum seekers to work legally in the U.S. while their cases are pending. Beth Furtick of member station WNYC reports today's court hearing became even more complicated by a new Government Accountability Office report that the acting DHS secretary's appointment was invalid.
The plaintiffs in New York, California, and Maryland are suing acting Homeland Security Secretary Chad Wolf. They claim his new rule isn't legal, partly because his appointment violated the Vacancies Reform Act. That was the conclusion of the GAO report, and the federal judge in Maryland hearing the case spent more than an hour asking questions about the impact of this non-binding opinion. If she allows the new rule to take effect next week, asylum seekers will have to wait twice as long, a full year, to apply for work authorization. The government says this added time will prevent frivolous asylum claims. For NPR News, I'm Beth Furtick in New York.
As President Trump continues to rail against mail-in voting, even though he and First Lady Melania Trump both requested mail-in ballots for themselves again this year, New Jersey's governor says all registered voters will get a ballot in the mail. Governor Phil Murphy says this way, everyone has the option to vote in person or by mail.
Making it easier to vote does not favor any one political party, but it does favor democracy.
He says safeguards and procedures are in place to make sure everyone's voice is heard. The U.S. Postal Service has ordered the removal of 60 mail collection boxes across Montana. Yellowstone Public Radio's Jess Sheldall reports that the move may delay mail delivery, including the processing of mail-in ballots during the November election.
Mail collection boxes began to disappear in Montana in July when the new Postmaster General Louis DeJoy instituted changes to Postal Service operations. Deb Sen is with the Montana Letter Carriers Union.
Occasionally we see some being taken out, but not as drastic as this is this year.
Montana's 3 members of Congress have written DeJoy requesting he reverse the policy. Senator John Tester says pulling out the boxes could have a negative effect on mail-in voting as many look to cast absentee ballots due to the coronavirus pandemic. A spokesperson for the USPS says eliminating boxes that receive little mail is, quote, simply good business sense. For NPR News, I'm Jess Sheldall in Billings.
In Belarus, tens of thousands of protesters flooded the capital Minsk today, angry over a brutal police crackdown on peaceful protesters this week that followed a disputed election. Factory workers shouting "Go away" called on the authoritarian president, Alexander Lukashenko, to resign after 26 years of iron-fisted rule. Wall Street ended the day in mixed territory. The Dow up 34 points, the Nasdaq down 23. You're listening to NPR News. France says it's responding in kind after the UK imposed a 2-week quarantine on visitors coming from the continent. NPR's Eleanor Beardsley reports Britain's declaration will likely spark a mass exodus amongst the estimated 500,000 Brits currently on vacation in France.
The British government says its citizens have until 4 a.m. Saturday morning to return from France and the Netherlands if they don't want to face 2 weeks of self-isolation. Britain reimposed quarantine for travelers from Andorra, Belgium, and the Bahamas last week. With more than 41,000 deaths caused by COVID-19, the UK is the worst-hit country in Europe. The French Minister for European Affairs said it was a British decision we regret and which will lead to a reciprocal measure. On Thursday, France recorded more than 2,500 new coronavirus infections, its highest daily number since May. The French government has declared Paris and Marseille high-risk zones, granting authorities there powers to impose localized curbs to contain the spread. Eleanor Beardsley, NPR News, Noirmoutier, France.
Retail sales rose for the third month in a row in July, but at a slower pace. The Commerce Department says Americans upped their spending by 1.2% last month. The gains of the past 3 months have now restored retail purchases to their levels before they plunged in March and April when the pandemic closed businesses and paralyzed the economy. Sales at electronics and appliance stores rose as more people work from home and need that equipment. Purchases at clothing stores, gas stations, and drugstores were also higher. I'm Janine Herbst, and you're listening to NPR News.
You are listening to WBHM Digital Broadcasting, Birmingham, Alabama.
Welcome back to WBHM Digital Broadcasting out of Birmingham, Alabama. The time is 5 minutes after the hour.
Welcome back to Ghost Talk Radio with me, Shelley Robertson, as your host. And tonight I've had the pleasure of talking with Litteral Dorsey and Kat Hobson. If you missed the first part of the show, no worries. You can catch the show archives on Spreaker, iHeart, Google Play, iTunes, basically anywhere you're subscribed, most likely. So normally, my show's over at 9, but we're having a whole lot of good time here tonight, and so we're going over since we have the producer here in the show with us tonight. so we can do that. But we have been talking about all kinds of different experiences, and prior to the break, we were talking about some recent happenings and talking about the sensory deprivation and why we think that people should, really, really think about that and don't do it alone. And I probably may never try that, actually.
Well, it really is very intense. If you're the subject, you can't do that alone, because you would not know if you were in an open area, right? You would not know if someone were sneaking up on you.
Well, and not only that, I get enough activity and interaction where I don't think I need to do that.
No.
That, to me, it would almost be frightening to be at the peril of someone else, in a compromised state. So, I may never try that, but I may watch others who are gun ho. But I don't think I'm ever going to do it.
I don't even like watching people do something.
That's not at the top of my list.
Right?
Yeah.
We were talking about that human pendulum thing during the break. And, I think that is an equally dangerous method. I think that anytime that you open yourself up to anything, because no matter what tool you're using, what, voice activated recorders, anything, no matter what you're using, you do not know who or what you are inviting in. You may think it's little Susie, but if it is a negative, they are programmed to deceive. And, they have a role in this realm. And that is not to be your friend and not to protect you and help you. So, no, I'm not interested in giving anything control over my body. You only get one, right? Until the next time you manifest.
I'll communicate with you, but don't use my energy. Don't attach yourself to me. I'm love and light, and just if you're not of that, then just stay away from me.
Exactly.
Yeah. So, I just, whew.
Yeah.
Now, I have done the experiment with the headphones, listening to the, spirit box, listening to the
Like the
scanning,
live
and
listening?
just calling out what I hear.
Yeah.
And just calling out what I hear. I've done that, but I won't go
I
much
just
farther
dropped off a minute ago.
Did you fall asleep?
No, my whole internet
Oh my goodness.
rejoined the call.
That is so weird.
Strange things happen when me and Kat are talking. Sometimes I hear stuff from her place. Sometimes.
Yeah.
Oh my gosh. And this time it just totally disconnected me, and well, I'm back.
And we're glad you are, because I just thought you were being quiet.
Yeah,
you didn't know.
But when you said you dropped off, I was like, did you fall asleep?
You didn't even know. You didn't even know my call fell out.
No, I didn't. So
that's funny.
Well, because the communication software is behind the recording software. I'm not looking at it. Maybe I should do that in the future.
It's okay. I got myself back in.
Well,
yay.
I'm glad, because that would have been so freaky. It is freaky. But, what you said about hearing stuff here, I have been hearing things for like the last week. And I thought that maybe my Amazon, my Echo and Echo Dots that I have were just running on low or something. And so every so often I'll say, Alexa, stop listening. And it does. It just did, because I've got one in the office. But yeah, and I don't know who it is. It's conversation. It's not conversation with me, but it's conversation. And I'm just like, where is that feeding from? Because I know it can't be, spiritual. It's got to be because the enunciation is too good. It's too low. I can't hear what they're saying. And it's odd. That does happen sometimes, but like I said,
that's why I don't have those.
It's just weird.
I don't have Alexa in my house.
Times
I don't mind. They're listening
one
on
of my
anything.
I'll try to make a call off of my house phone now and again, and it'll tell me that another handset's in use, and I'm the only one home.
Yeah.
Yeah.
That doesn't make you nervous at all, right?
I'm like, okay, which handset and who is it?
And where is it?
It's using my phone right now. Hang up. I need to make a call.
Who's ever using it, I got to make a call.
Hang up. We'll get you a pizza later, right? But
it's crazy. Stuff will happen between our calls with between me and Kat. It's nuts.
It's consistent too.
Yeah.
And because
they must know that you're talking to each other.
Well, yeah. But
I'm going to ask you both, what's your favorite pieces of equipment, would you say? Lori, what's yours?
My SLS and REM pod are my two favorite. Because the REM pod lets me know if something walks up on me, And then the SLS, I just catch some of the most bizarre things,
Yeah.
And it's just so, since I've gotten it, I've caught some really unexplainable things. And and it's visual. So people can actually see what's going on. But, my REM pod, I keep, it watches my back when I go in the room. that's what.
What about you,
thing.
Kat?
Those
What's
are
your
my two
favorite
favorites.
pieces of equipment?
I have the oldest, most beat up Sony digital handycams. One of them makes a noise, but it does it in a consistent pattern. So you know to rule that sound out. But it is, I love those, and I have some really terrific. Actually, I got it at Walmart for $25. I've got the most fantastic flashlight. It's like you could take out, Carter's Army with this thing if you had to swing it. And it came with a red plate that you can put over it, like, to set up a flash if you're on the side of the road or something. Well, it's great with my digital recorders because it's strong and powerful. It'll light up 2 or 3 rooms. And I like red light more than I like green, but green looks so much cooler. But and I can use it outside and get more distance with my camcorders. But I have a Sony digital voice recorder, and I have Tascams and stuff too. Whatever. But this Sony is my favorite thing because it's got the little slide plug-in made into it.
Oh yeah.
It's got memory for days because I always put great big SIM cards in. It is so fantastic. It's also why half the time I can't find the evidence that I'm looking for because it has so many files, and if I upload it, it takes me a good hot minute to get to what I'm looking for. So that's the downside.
Yeah.
But and I had the SLS camera too, but I am not proficient with it because it's me. Because Scott Gruenwald and Jeff Conkle took it from me and rebuilt it. They put it in they just did me all the favors in the world with how they were fixing this. And I still have issues with using it. So, and I never investigate my house, so I don't do it while I'm at home, right? So I'm kind of stymied with it. I need to come spend a week at the jail so that I can just walk around using that, because that would be the perfect environment. But
I caught something down. Yeah. I caught something down in the dungeon down there.
I love
down there. I always catch something.
Yeah. I get some great stuff down there, too. That's where I had
the REM pod.
The 2 fingers on my mouth was down there. It was like it was shushing me.
Shushing you.
Yeah. And, it's actually on video. So, and I have the video. And it's just so wild because I'm so insulted that I'm like, why did you put your hand over? It was, classic Southern outrage.
Shushing you.
Shushing me. 2 fingers. It touched my lips. I was like, I don't know where those fingers have been. Where do they even come from? So it was a whole disturbing experience. I have a question. Can I ask a question?
What is it? Sure.
What is your favorite equipment?
Yeah, I was going to ask.
Well, I will.
Did you go
favorite
away?
Is. No, I'm here. Can you hear me?
Now I can.
Yeah.
Okay.
I can now.
All right. My signal keeps coming in and out of poor connection for some reason. I mean, everything's been rebooted here, so.
Yeah.
Are you there? I'm still here.
Yep.
I'm here.
Okay.
Okay. My favorite's got to be the Portal Box and my voice recorder because I just enjoy talking to them, and I'm recently got to liking my thermal camera because I'm able to capture some of these on thermal now, whereas my night vision isn't seeing them. So I've done some research. I've done some research into how your night vision actually works and how the thermal camera works, which it makes perfectly good sense to me, because your night vision camera, your IR, it still needs, even though it can see in the dark, it still needs a little bit of light. So when you do capture things in night vision, it's had a little help. You know what I mean?
Mm-hmm.
A little flicker of light from somewhere. So now where the thermal is working with your atmosphere also, with a little like humidity droplets in the air and stuff, and it's picking up the temperature changes, right? But what's so interesting is I'm able to get, like, everybody's seen, lots of people I know, you've seen where you look through a FLIR or a thermal camera, whatever your brand, it doesn't matter, and people look like big blobs, like red and orange, and the different temperatures that your body but you're just a big shape, right? There's not really too much definition into it. You're just a big colorful blob. Okay, but what I'm finding so very interesting about the photos I'm capturing is you can see details of their facial details, their clothing details, and I'm like, okay, so I'm researching, I'm trying to figure out how is this working, and so now I'm on a mission to figure out how I can develop some thermal CC TV cameras for the jail, like some of my other cameras, because I'm like, okay, if I could put thermals where I could record them through the DVR like all the other cameras, I could possibly not just get the snapshots of them, I could watch them walk around,
That would be astounding.
Oh, yeah.
So I'm trying to figure out how to make that happen, of course, with like thousands upon thousands of dollars, because we know these thermals are quite expensive, but there's got to be, I mean, if I could just even start out with one that'll record to DVR, just one, I will put it on the third floor, no questions asked.
Right.
Yeah.
Right.
And watch it. I would probably be glued to that camera screen.
You would. You'd never get anything done at all when you're in Indianapolis.
Yeah, I was going to say.
I would be sitting in front of my computer.
We need to take a break.
Especially if I saw one of them come through, because I have several snapshots. That would be my new obsession,
Without you would never get anything done. But did you hear me say we need a break? Just a little short.
Yes. How about that, folks? We are running way over, so I'll tell you what, we will be back to kind of wrap things up after this short break. You're listening to Ghost Talk Radio on WBHM-DB.
You're listening to WBHM Digital Broadcasting, the best in paranormal talk, only on Paranormal Experienced Radio. Broadcasting live out of Birmingham, Alabama.
Welcome back to Ghost Talk Radio with me as your host, Shelley Robertson. That was a short break, wasn't it? If you missed all of this overage show tonight, you can catch a full show archive and us having fun on Google Play, iTunes, iHeart, of course on Spreaker, anywhere you're subscribed. I'm sure we're probably there. I've been talking with Kat Hobson and Lori Dorsey tonight. Very, very experienced paranormal investigators and good at it too. And I've got a final question for you both, and then I'll let you know what's going on at the station, what's going on at the jail. So let's consider, if travel is not an object, if money is not an object, where would your most ultimate bucket list place? How about you, Lori?
Any of the castles in Ireland. That's the place I would love to go. Ireland or Scotland. The castles over there. I have family history over there, and I would love to check those places out. That'd be
ultimate.
Absolutely
awesome.
Yeah, that's my ultimate. Yeah.
What about you, Kat? What's your
I actually
place?
I have a lot of places that if money were no object and time, it would be Scotland, because, my friend Rick has been all about Scotland. But from the experiences that I've seen through the eyes of the Haunted Scotland group, or Scottish Paranormal, it is just absolutely, the scenery is astounding. I have always read about Scotland, the characters all live in Scotland, and, that's my favorite thing. Ireland is as well, because I have family history there. And I think that would be amazing to go and find my people. But
same here.
Because I found my ancestors in the rolls, the Cherokee Nation rolls in Cherokee, North Carolina. So I have answers to that, but I would like to go to the other side now and see what I can find, because, the actual beauty that is both of those countries overwhelms me in the first place. The historic locations.
No, that there is a castle over there.
Yeah?
Pardon?
There's a castle there that you can rent it out for really cheap. It's like $50 a night or something.
Too cool. Well,
That's my bucket list. Yeah.
Yeah. I think I would start. Wherever Scottish Paranormal wanted to take me, and I would be just happy as a clam, because it is something. I've read all of the books about Ireland as well. The Dublin-based everything, and I can't imagine.
I'll cover some of those places in some of my shows too, because they're fascinating to me.
Yes, and I appreciate every one of them that you do on those locations.
Oh yeah. Yeah.
Okay, so for me, my bucket
I know
list,
yours.
What do you think it is? There's two.
I think it's in Japan.
Put them both in a bag. Yeah, that's one of them. Two I could put in a bag, and whichever one fell out, I'd hit the highway for it. And one of them is the Suicide Forest in Japan. It's just thousands of people die there every year, and I'm telling you, you go in, your compasses won't work once you get so far in, and it's just so mysterious and so full of sorrow. I just know it's haunted beyond belief. I just know it is, and so I would like to go there, but I know I wouldn't go in any farther than the guide would take me. They'll only take you so far, and I'd be happy with that. My other place, which like I said, I could throw both of these places in a bag and just toss them out, and whichever one came out first, that's where I'd go. I'm a horror fan.
You are.
So on top of and I'm a crime case person too, on top of everything. But let me tell you, if I could go to Dracula's castle, oh my gosh. Oh my
Now,
gosh.
the creepy place I would love to go to is the Island of the Dolls.
Yes.
Mexico.
Oh yeah, I saw that about that. Yeah.
If I had to go to the ultimate creepy place, that's the place I would go. I would go to the check that and investigate that place, just because that was just bizarre. That's
Well,
just
you know,
bizarre.
one of the guys I investigated with, Kevin Kane, who is a haunted doll collector, haunted items. He's expanded into so many things now, but he is he has 3 dolls from the Island of the Dolls.
Oh
Wow.
my gosh, you're kidding.
And they live in his bedroom.
Oh my.
Oh.
Yeah. The
You
guy has
gotta be kidding me.
the guy probably
brave
has 500
soul.
dolls. And you know, and they're all spirited. So it's
Wow.
really,
So it could probably get quite noisy in his bedroom.
Yeah. That's
well,
kind of.
I think they kind of respect that zone, you know, but they have to live somewhere, and
well, yeah,
they've
sure,
but they're all interesting. He has 2 that have been damaged, like on purpose, to make them freaky, and I don't like that. I don't like people doing that to them.
No,
I think it's disrespectful of them. But you know, I would not.
Right.
If I were a little kid that was living in that doll, I would flip out if somebody damaged it like that.
Oh,
So,
sure. It's,
oh, yeah.
But anyway,
I think another creepy place would be, because I've never been, but would be, you know, their crypts in New Orleans.
Yeah.
The cemeteries.
They're freaky. Well, they're not all freaky. I mean, mainly they're beautiful because people own those like housing lots.
Yeah.
Right?
Yeah.
Oh, yeah.
And if the taxes don't get paid on them, you can be evicted from your crypt.
Oh, my gosh.
Yes. When I was down there, the first time I went with Bloody Mary, and she was showing me around, and I actually got to go with her while she did a tour. That was fascinating. But there was an eviction notice on a tomb in a cemetery that we went through. I thought she was yanking my chain. She's not yanking my chain.
So what happens? Does the thing go down the line in family and like, you know, grandchild might be paying for great grandma's tomb?
Well,
is that how it works?
Yeah.
It's property tax.
Yeah.
You actually pay property tax
that has
on your
to be
crypt.
done. Yeah.
Yes.
If you have a lot of family,
yeah,
that could be a big chunk of change, you know?
Yeah. Well, truly, they kind of stack on top of each other because they're on grids, is my understanding, or grates. And once somebody finishes their processing, I guess, then there's room.
When they disintegrate to bone,
That just grosses me out.
They sweep it.
Yeah.
They sweep it.
Yeah.
I was in New Orleans, and we went on a tour, and the guy explained what they do.
Yeah.
And how they do it. You know, you disintegrate, and when you do to bone, they take it and they sweep you to the side.
Yeah.
So if another family member comes in,
so the crypts are actually also full of ash?
And bones.
Full of
bone. It's mainly bone.
Wow.
Yeah. Oh yeah.
See,
it's
like the skeleton.
That'd be pretty creepy. See? Pretty creepy, I think.
Well, and you know, where do they take you if you get evicted?
Well, they gather the bones up.
Yeah, and take them to the paupers.
They actually take, they take it to the pauper field.
Yeah.
Yeah. They gather all the bones.
You're kidding,
in that crypt.
really?
No, they do.
That's what they do.
They'll go in and they gather them up, and they take them and they put them in the pauper field, or crypt, or wherever, you know, whatever it is.
Oh my
gosh.
gosh.
That's where everybody goes if you don't pay the taxes on it. Oh, yeah.
Oh, my gosh.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's crazy.
It was a surprise to me, too.
I was shocked. I said, you got to be kidding me.
And some of those
tombs. Your final
tombs.
resting place?
Not really.
I mean, are they? That is just bizarre to me. I'm just going to say it.
It's really, actually, that's really better than like here or almost any other place where they decide that they need to dam a waterway to create a lake.
And flood the place.
And the graves get flooded because they do not move them all. I mean, they don't. And that's why a lot of times...
If they can't contact the family, then they just stay there.
Yeah.
Wow. Okay, ladies, it's been so wonderful talking with you this evening and doing our overage show, which I don't do that often. And now, I'm telling you, if you want to know a little bit more about Lori's investigations, look her up on Facebook. She's there. You guys know where to find Kat. If you're listening, subscribe to the station, WBHM-DB.com, so you can keep up to date on all the great programming we have. We also, I will tell you, we have a new show in the lineup on Thursday nights, and it starts, that's at 8 too, right, Kat?
Mm-hmm.
And
8 Eastern, 7 Central.
And the name of that show is?
Full Spectrum Project with Pete Haviland, who is fantastic. He founded Lone Star Paranormal, and he's a brilliant hypnotherapist. But also with Brian Clume, who is everything. He's an author of so many titles. He is... I cannot, off the top of my head, remember his business, but he has been well known in the paranormal field for decades. He's out in California, if I'm not mistaken. He wrote Haunted Alcatraz, which has just come out, and he also wrote The Haunted Queen Mary. He kind of is the expert on the Queen Mary. So, from the paranormal side. And they're getting used to the formatting and stuff because it's a little different from what they were doing. And it's coming along. They're fantastic. They also have Angie Mole, who does Weird World News at the top of the hour. And that's kind of fun. I mean,
yes, so Thursday nights.
Yes.
Thursday nights. 8 p.m. is our magic time here at the station. So Thursday nights, new show. You'll want to catch it. And then we have, of course, Ghost Talk on Friday nights. So we have Fate Magazine on Sunday nights with Kat Hobson as host. We have Paranormal Pride on Monday nights with host Denise Pridemore. And we have Paranormal Experience with Kat Hobson on Wednesday nights, all at 8 o'clock. So every night, 8 o'clock, you got something to do. You know, if you're wanting to listen to some great shows and some fantastic guests, you'll want to tune in. And what's going on at the jail? Well, we got a lot of irons in the fire right now. I will say I have all of the Saturdays posted at 187pi.com for private group investigations posted for the rest of the year. I'm sorry, folks, there's only a few. If you want a private session on a Saturday, you might want to go to the website and book it up because that's all there's going to be to the remaining part of the year. That's it. I do have some weekdays that'll be coming up that's not been posted yet. I'm in the process of getting all them up for the rest of the year. But the weekends are scarce and far between, especially once we're getting into our fall season, which we do a lot of events at the jail, and we go other places too. So luckily, a couple of those spots had opened up because some of our conventions and Paracons canceled that we were going to be at. So we've got those Saturdays on the board. We have a public hunt coming August 22nd. Tickets are limited. We have a few left. Yes, we are abiding by social distancing, and if Ohio has a mask order in place, well, bring one or we'll have one for you. We also have a public hunt the end of September 26th. Those tickets can be found at our website as well, 187pi.com. We have Doogie from Haunted Towns and Haunted Live and Ghost Asylum from those TV shows. We got Doogie and Jason Hale, who is part of the Fearless Ones and has the Fearless Forum. They're coming to the jail October 17th, and we have a handful of those tickets available. So if you want to investigate with Doogie and Jason, you might want to grab your tickets, get your reservations in. We also have a payment plan if you want to split it up a little bit so you don't have to pay it all at once. Tickets are moving on that, I will say. And then we've got February. We have Santiago Cirillo coming to the Old Paulding Jail the first 2 weekends in February. He'll be there Thursday, Friday, Saturday, and Sunday. Thursdays, there'll be meet and greet where he's going to talk about, you'll have a chance to meet him, take pictures, photo ops, autograph sessions, and he's got a special presentation because he is looking for investors. He's also looking for local people to be in his new TV series that he's going to start filming called Smoke, and it's a paranormal TV series, and the pilot will be filmed at the jail. So you'll want to attend the meet and greets, at least one of them, for if you want to maybe have a chance at acting in one of the TV shows, or, you know, if you want to be an investor, or if you have a location that you would want as a filming spot, because this series, he's going to film many different places. So he's also looking for filming locations. You want to go to the meet and greet. He'll be there for a ghost hunt on Friday and Saturday night. And then we have a special treat for everyone on Sunday. And it will be the escape game for February. And we'll announce more on that in the coming weeks, because this one is a brand new theme and it's very fitting of Valentine's Day. So it's going to be really good, folks.
You're slammed. You're doing great.
I know. We've just been beavers, you know?
Yeah.
And so, yeah, you guys grab your tickets. If you want a private, grab it while it's there. And keep an eye out for the new escape game that's going to be running the first 2 Sundays in February. It'll be great, and Santiago will be there. It's going to be a really fun time. Anyways, I want to thank everyone who took time out of their busy schedules to listen to my live broadcast tonight and have a fun with me and Kat and Lori. I hope you guys have a great evening and a super weekend. And I just want to say, may everybody have peace and happiness. Good night, everyone.
Good night.
Night.